Good morning, everybody. How are you on this Saturday? What is it? June 6th, 2020. Well, I wanted to start this morning out by sharing why it is so important that we remember our own awakening process, especially in a time such as these that we are going through. Well, come to find out that I want to now present something that has just come into my awareness this morning after I posted, but we're going to get back to the topic on why it is so important for us to remember what we've been through. But I do want to share something with you guys that I found. And since it is about me, I feel, comfortable with sharing it with you. So you can learn and see. What I want you to look for in this is we we're very aware of symbolism. We're very aware of mind control. We're very aware of how people can use symbolism and your voice, or what you're going to see here in just a moment, to actually label you, or people then will hear your voice and they've been brainwashed or mind controlled into these images that were planted over the message of it was the last message that I did on why certain constructs still exist for us today. And it was a message done in love. And I want to start out by saying this. Although I am an ordained Universal Life Ministries ministry, that was only done so that when people make donations and contributions, that you can contact me and I can give you the ministry number off of the licensing and the classes that I took, so it could be taken as a tax deductible contribution towards helping run this channel, or any kind of contributions that are done to help others in the community on your behalf with the funds that you help to keep things running here, and any overages can go back out into the community as needed by necessity and be able to be used for a tax deduction. Now, I'm not a 501c3. I've never proposed myself to be a preacher, teacher, apostle, or any such thing. I just wanted a safe space where we could all come and share these breathtaking phenomena, these miracles, from sky phenomena to dreams, visions, out of body experiences, speaking in tongues, all of these gifts unlocking within us, and to have a safe place in order to express what you are going through without any dogmatic religious constructs or any limitations being put on you to stifle your growth. If I am by any shape or form stifling anyone's growth with anything that I'm saying or doing, then you need to call me out on that, because that is far from what my heart wants. I want everybody to grow into this understanding of who you are, what you are, and no matter which religion you believe in, that's okay. I don't have a bias or preference on any of that. I'm not going to lift one group up over another, because I see us all as equals. So if I've done anything outside of that, call me out on it and let me know. So that way, because I'm in this with you guys. I'm learning and growing with each and every one of you. So without further ado, I want to share with you, it was actually using my voice and my words, Now, I have taken action, but the only action that I took was deciding that maybe this person may not be able to handle a wrench in this type of a platform where I don't want people to feel that they are being shut down or pushed down or oppressed for sharing some, pretty amazing, phenomenal things that we go through. I mean, my goodness, guys. I mean, we can't put words on what we're all going through. Not only that, we don't know what each of us are going through. It's so unique for each person. And I'm not in your shoes dealing with whatever circumstances that you are to cast any judgment. So I don't judge. That's not my job. So, anyways, I want to. I did get a hold of several moderators because what I'm going to be sharing is a little controversial. But you guys, please do not do anything, and I don't want anybody to hold anything but love for this individual, because that's what I had for them. And like I said, the only thing that I have done was I just removed a wrench because I don't want somebody mishandling it or abusing that privilege on somebody that may not believe exactly the same way they do. So that was the only reason for doing that. It had nothing to do with this. I had absolutely no idea that this person felt this way about me. And it was a moderator over here and somebody I've known for years. So let me get out of the way and pull up the screen share, and I'm going to show it to you guys. I'm going to share sound and all, since it is actually my voice. But pay attention to the imagery, the subliminal messages there. And then we come back, we'll discuss it, and then I want to get along with the message of why it is important for us to remember our own awakening process, and how important that it is that we remember that, so we don't fall back into these layers and layers of things being stacked up on us, and start to give our sovereignty, our power, our energy. Because as we know, as our heart and our mind and our vibration, and as we speak and our energy flows, that's it's like E equals MC squared. Energy equals matter created. So we don't want to add to this confusion. We want to be the calm in the midst of the storm. We want to be the peace that's beyond understanding. We want to bring people through this without any harm or unnecessary harm coming to anyone. Because, we're brothers and sisters. We're in this together. Okay, so let me move me out of the way and bring up this. What I may do is run it at a higher speed, so we don't have to watch so much of it. Because they pretty much used my entire last broadcast in theirs to prove their point. So let's see, we got this right. Okay, and let me turn on, I think it's already on. Okay, so you should be able to hear it. I am unable to go into the chat, so bear with me for a moment until we get that all situated. I'm gonna speed it up. I'm trying to hurry up and open that so you don't see the channel name. Put it at 1.5. Pay attention to the subliminal messages.
Amen.
All right, now I'm going to let you hear straight from the horse's mouth, as they say, or from the wolf's mouth, might be a better analogy in this situation, exactly what someone who teaches this light and love really thinks about our Father, our Bible, our doctrine, and our Jesus. Straight from their own mouth. I'm not going to bother shutting it and interrupting it and interpreting for you, because even my granddaughter could spot the blasphemies that are rolling off of these lips. So, straight from their own mouth, this is what the light and love people truly think about Jesus.
So why do the control constructs still exist? When we're walking through this awakening process and we're going through a refinement period, and many of us have been going through this process for, decades, some as little as a year, and are moving right along with the understanding and understanding of who and what they are and how they are able to interact with one another without casting judgments and to unconditionally love. Let me know, can you guys hear that? My husband is in the chat stream, so he'll be able to get back with me really quickly to let me know if you guys can hear the sound or if I need to adjust the volume in any way. And if it's too fast, I can slow it down. Love everyone as brothers and sisters without any judgment or wanting them to change in any way, to love them as they are, for who they are, as the unique divine brother or sister that they are to us. Well, when we are creating, we're creating at we can call it a macro and a micro level. So in the macro, we would call that the collective consciousness, co-creating together what is going on in this existence, in this realm. Well, at this specific time and period, we know that we cannot go without having these control constructs still in existence. Now, as we know, when you walk out of this, that you no longer are in that paradigm, and you don't pay attention to government, you don't pay attention to religion, because everything's pure and you're walking in a new renewing of your mind and heart. So all of that kind of falls to the wayside, and you're not bothered by them, they're not bothered, they don't bother you, and you just move on through. Here's some reasons, and this is going to be like a philosophical discussion here with maturely awakened people who are aware of who they are, their shortcomings, their good qualities, the experiences that we all have and that we share, on why. Let's start with religion. Okay, why would it be important to have religion still in action today? Although we know the finished work and that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, which is said in the good book under Christianity, that even he said when he was walking and talking to each of the disciples before the cross, that some were going to still be alive and actually see the kingdom of heaven. So if that is true, then they actually reached that nirvana point in their life where religion or governing body or none of that affected them anymore, because they knew who they were, what they were, and they were manifesting in the micro what was going on around them. It was reflecting around them, manifesting, for lack of a better word. Why we would need religion today is if people really knew the truth that there's no hell, there's no condemnation. When you leave from here, you go to God, you go to the Creator, you go to the one, the divine that has created all things. You are not going to be judged. You're your own judge. And you're not going to be, begging for forgiveness or any of that, because it even says in that book that, since we're starting off with religion, that God is pure love, pure light, with no shadow of turning, okay? So the information is in the book, but it is still used as a control construct to keep people with using a fear narrative that if you do this, you're going to be condemned to hellfire. And when they think that that is a possibility or probability, and they really don't know who and what they are, they haven't went through the process, the refinement process, they will fear that, and they will not seek vigilante justice or retribution on their brothers and sisters if they feel that they've been wronged by somebody. So that's just one explanation on religion. And we're going to get into discernment and stuff, a little bit later on. When we are in the collective realm, we can't lie to ourselves. We cannot we can't hide who and what we are and what we're capable of. So with that, in the collective realm, we still are collectively constructing these type of control constructs, so we don't go out and seek after vigilante or eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type behavior. And that then the veils come off, you can see clearly, and then you go through the process of, it's likened to a purification process where you are pure inside, and then you realize that so is everybody else, no matter where they're at. Even if you are confused, you're still pure. There's nothing that you could do that would ever have you fall from grace from the creator of this place. So when you listen and you're listening to religious doctrines from any kind of religion, and they teach on sinners, or you need to do this, you need to do that, or you're condemned and it's hellfire, well, use your discernment. If they're using scare tactics to get you to hand over your creative divinity that is already residing within you, walk away from that, because that is something that, when you're going through this process, has been pushed out of you already. any of those false man-made levels of control to keep us from harming one another or seeking retribution. Because when you come out and you have this understanding about everybody, you have no desire to hurt anybody, to covet anything, to steal or commit adultery, or all of those things that are talked about, that are considered to be like the laws for men. You don't even have those kind of thoughts anymore. So they're just gone. They're not even in your way of thinking anymore. So then you walk in the freedom of the purity of the unconditional love by not wanting justice, by seeing people as who they are, because you know who you are. So when we're looking at the government, when we're ready as a people, as a collective, and we know that if somebody makes a mistake, that we're not going to go out and seek retribution after them, then these constructs will fall apart. But collectively, we're creating these constructs and these narratives to keep our own selves in check. I mean, it's kind of difficult to wrap your mind around how complex that this is, that we're actually creating these false constructs: government, police, jail, justice, harm, victim, survivor, retribution. All of these things, they're not necessary, because we could actually live as equals, in balance and in harmony with one another. But like I said, this is more of a philosophical discussion, and really it's mainly for more maturely awakened people that can, or awakened enough that you know yourself. You know that that maybe you need that religion. Maybe you need to have that a little bit of that fear, so you don't cause harm to somebody else. It's really about getting to know ourselves, know us inside, all the way through and through. So so when we are looking at discernment, look at the government with discernment. Look at what's going on around you with discernment. What does it bring up in you? Fear, or does it bring out purity? Do you see the purity in everybody, or are you afraid of your neighbor? I mean, things happen in our life. It's a part of our growth process. It's a part of our expansion. And to know that these constructs, and there's others, I'm sure, if you guys want to list some, that would be great too, that these constructs are out there and they serve a purpose, but they're only serving a purpose for as long as we feel that we need them. And then once we walk out of that, we are basically walking in the freedom and the liberty and the sovereignty that we've always been, that we forgot, that we now remember. Like I said, then the government doesn't bother you. You don't bother the government. You don't see them. You don't mess with them. You coexist with them, realizing that even the people that are holding positions in police departments or governing bodies or anything, we're all brothers and sisters. So they're just doing what they think is right in order to keep peace. Everything comes from good intentions. Now, I'm not saying that some people aren't twisted in their thoughts, and when they get twisted in their thoughts, good intentions can turn into greed or secret knowledge or gnosis of what we are learning about ourselves, that people cannot then thrash around, make a scene, use fear to have others hand over their sovereignty and power to create with their abilities what somebody else is promoting. I mean, we see that kind of stuff go on quite a bit. But once you get to a point where you know that you know that you know, you're not going to hand over your sovereignty and your creative abilities and all the gifts that you've been born with. Everybody is born with the same tools, whether awake, asleep, NPC, whatever the label that may be thrashed onto them. It matters not. Whether we know it or not, we're co-creating any experience that we judge as bad or good. So there is actually no bad or good. There's just experience and growth and expansion. So when you're walking through it with the discernment and coming into your own, well, then you guys, I have sped this up now to 1.75 speed, because this message is actually still up on my channel if you want to hear it in regular time. It's more about the memes that are put up on display with my voice in the background. They actually are playing it at regular speed. I sped it up to get through it, to just show you about mind control and how putting up images over somebody's voice can actually be a form of mind control. And since, like I said, this one was done to me, I figured that it would be fair to share it with you guys. So we're at 1.75 speed. Walk right out of worried about what's going on with the government, and you walk right out of any kind of religious oppression that these are put in place to keep us in line so we don't hurt each other, because the desire to hurt one another is just gone. It's gone. You just have that. You do not have that desire anymore. Yeah, it's just it's pure truth. We're going to start getting a little deeper on this channel. I know I've been playing in the shallow end, trying to have people realize the divinity within them,
and the awakening process. And I am still very interested in people's journeys and awakenings and what they've got going on inside, and sharing, because as we share, we grow, and people will resonate and be like, whoa, that's been going on with me, but I've been afraid to talk about it. And then it'll spark up, and they'll lose the fear of the process and walk through it in record speed, record time. Because I know when you're walking through it and you feel alone, you can question your sanity at sometimes, because the world is portrayed to us, and it's inverted and upside down. If you want to know the truth, well, take everything and invert it, because it's upside down. We live in an upside down world. When you have the power, putting you into a fear narrative, are they the ability within you to change it? And I'm not talking with physical protests or violence or anything like that. I'm talking about getting to know what's in here and what you have been able to do and have been doing your entire life. I mean, it's a really profound inner and understanding. So we're gonna talk a lot more about discernment and what to look for. Are they propagating unconditional love, or are they putting you into a fear narrative? Are they telling you there's demons out there that can influence you, or that demons can possess you, or things like that? That's not true. I'm telling you from my heart of hearts, it's not true. It's a twisting in thinking. So, but if you do believe that, you can actually create that for yourself. And that is a profound understanding about how powerful that you are as an individual, that you can actually create a demon and have it mess with you. And but then again, you can also erase them and uncreate it, because when you realize that, oh my gosh, I created all that craziness. I created that. It's very humbling. And, you go through a little bit of at least I did a little bit of a shame face, like, oh my gosh, all this stuff I've been through. And, I either if it was with a group of people, or I co-created the situation, and then I walked through it with them. And who can I blame? Who can I hold at fault? I'd have to look just to myself, right? So I mean, it's very humbling when you, especially if you do something big like that, as to create a poltergeist situation, or a haunting, or a demon, type of a situation. That's how powerful that you're able to manifest that. And but at the same token, you're able to overcome that by, understanding that, oh my goodness, I'm so powerful that I created that, and then I had the experience, I learned from it, I'm not going to do that again. I know how to create another one of those. So it really, I'm telling you, it's upside down. We're in upside down land, and we're trying to, flip it back over and turn it right side up. And the only people that can do that is us. We have to do it. And when enough of us come into agreement, all that other stuff will fall away, because we will have no need for it anymore. We won't have governors over us. We won't have mayors. We won't have,
To anybody who's just entered the room, what I am showing is from a Christian-based channel that proclaims the gospel, and this is a piece that they put up against me. It's like I've sped it up for time's sake, because the symbolism that is being shown with my voice in the background, they actually are playing my voice at actual speed. I sped this up because this is from my last post about some of the constructs that we still have and why we still have them. So anybody new to the room, this is a hit piece that was done against me, and so that's what I'm showing. What I'm trying to show is the symbology that was put up over my audio. That is a form of mind control. Just to catch anybody up to date that may have entered the room after I started this, I sped it up because of the length of it, and I do want to get to the actual message of what we were going to talk about before I came across this, which was like, what? Oh my gosh. But I'm going to tell you again, I want no retribution. I love this person unconditionally, and I will not give out the channel name, and I tried to hide it as fast as I could, because that is not the space that we approach things from, and we know that. So that's what I'm sharing now, and then we'll get into what was the actual message.
Policing, we won't have that, because our true nature, and if you really think about it in your heart of hearts, do you want to hurt your neighbor? Do you want to do anything to your neighbor? No. Most of us wouldn't. I mean, when we see this craziness going on with looting and stuff like that, when we think about it, would we want to tear up our own neighborhood? Would we really go that far as to tear up our own neighborhood? No. Why would we want to destroy the convenience of our grocery store, or the clothing stores, or the different places that we're able to go to pick up whatever it is that we need or desire at that moment? We wouldn't. That's not in our nature. So you can just see that as a false paradigm type, upside down, as she said, clown reality, because that is exactly what it is. If we're looking after one another, then we would never want to hurt anybody. We're not going to, it's really not in our nature. It's more in our nature to feed somebody who's hungry than it is to beat up or bully somebody that is different. If you really think about our true nature, we're more driven to help somebody than to ever hurt somebody. So, and if there's anything we learn from our experience and our expansion, is that, that when you boil us down, we're all unique, We all add color and texture and vibrancy to this world from different aspects, and which keeps it very interesting. And at the same time, we can still walk in that peace that's beyond comprehension and not worry about these other things. They kind of just fall away. The constructs fall away. But if you find yourself, falling into a construct of, even a controlling relationship, if somebody is with you because they're with you in the hopes, or you're with somebody in the hopes that you're going to change them, then you're not with the right person. You should never go into a relationship thinking by any means that they're going to change or you're going to change them. We don't have that kind of authority over each other, and we shouldn't try to express that type of authority over each other. Using love as a weapon is horrible. It's horrible. So make sure you're discerning that. If you're with somebody condemned by anybody, it does not happen. That is fake. That is not real. That is not a part of reality. So those are things we need to discern and understand, just like manifesting evil spirits and things like that. So, if we start all believing that there's UFOs, I guarantee you we're going to start really seeing UFOs. It's all in what we believe, and what we create from our heart will then manifest in the material, physical, what we call the physical world. It'll manifest out there. We'll see it. We'll be able to be like, oh my gosh, see, I told you, it's real, I told you. Because now, not only will we see it, other people will too. But it's a group. That's collective consciousness at work. And today I just wanted to touch on why we still have control constructs in place, mainly talking about governmental bodies, which are in every country all across the world, and religion, and again, which is in every country all across the world. But there actually are many of the religions that really already know that there is no hell. So I'm not saying that they're let them sow doubt in you, and just to walk away with, in the Bible it says, let no man steal your crown. Okay, your crown is your utmost top thoughts, which comes from your heart, then your mind, to your crown. And when they're stealing your crown, they are actually stealing your capabilities of creation to create what it is that what narrative that they're promoting or pushing. So take that with take everything I say with discernment. Take everything everybody says with discernment. Seek yourself. Look inside yourself. Do your own introspection, and then look for affirmations, outside of yourself. I guarantee you'll find them. You'll find affirmations for what's going on within you, for questions that you ask. We're always given answers. We don't always get the answer that we want, but we are always getting answers and hearing. And with that said, I want to say thank you guys for coming. This is a short one, and I really am not trying to offend anybody. I just we're going to start going down some more serious topics, and getting down to the skivvy of it on who is it to blame for anything that's going on in this world. So with that, you guys, I want to say, let me pull that up, that share what you know, listen so you grow, and realize how amazing and wonderful that you are. I love you guys. Have a good day.
Wow. Like I said, I don't think I need to break that down. My little granddaughter is discerning enough to see the blasphemies in that little dialogue. We don't need a savior. We create everything. We're genuinely good inside. We don't seek to hurt anyone. It amazes me. Nothing.
Okay. That's as far as we're going to go with that. I want to try and do this where you cannot see the channel. I'm going to try to be really fast. And yeah. Okay. And let me get rid of that TV. And then let's get into the message for today, which was what I wanted to talk about before this came, into my awareness. I was just really surprised. Well, many of you know from, if you've been with my channel for any amount of time, about where I've come from. My upbringing, was in Christianity. And where's my camera? Let me pull me back up. No. I think I just grabbed the wrong one. There we go. There I am. Okay. I wanted to, share that. But, anybody who's been following my channel for a while, my channel is not new. It's been around for several years, and I have given my testimony. Go to the live streaming page where I can actually see you guys now. Has been following me, has listened to my testimony, and has a understanding of, where I've come from, where my beginnings are. I gotta watch it on the white screen. I'm sorry. It's just so hard to see it on the the live screen, what you guys are talking about. So I'm trying to pull that up now. Hold on, I gotta mute that. Okay, good. Okay. What? A commercial? What the heck, man? Get out of here. I want no thinking commercial. I don't know why, but OBS will put a commercial before a live stream. They can do it all they want after the stream is done, but prior, let's just get down to it and start talking. We don't need to worry about commercials first. Anyways, so I was raised Christian, and the finished work of Christ, and I was under the misconception that I'm a dirty, rotten, worthless, good for nothing. And it took a long time for me to let go of that fear paradigm. And it was through, if you've listened to my testimony, it was through Christ. It was through Christ, crying out to Christ in repentance. Then I was given the gift of the Holy Spirit and the pure truth. Now, I was my own worst enemy in this by cleaving to old things, to man-made doctrines that are meant for control type systems, when in truth, it just boils down to two things, and that is to love our Creator with all our heart, mind, body, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. So it boils straight down to unconditional love. So now let's get to the message of today on all these things that we are seeing going on. It's like stacks and stacks of different things that are, I'd have to say many of us could fall into, where did I go? Hold on. I need to move up. There we go. Give you something pretty to look at. Many of us have already been through the awakening process. Many of us have our testimonies. Many of us have our experiences. Many of us have the gifts and awareness of them being activated within us. Now, with that being said, a lot of the narratives, a lot of the storylines, a lot of the things that are going on, they seem to be circular. Like they will run over and over and over again. We'll see the same things playing out at different times. But it seems like now we've got layers and layers of different narratives. Instead of it being one and then another and then another, now we've got them stacked on top of stacked on top of stacked. And this is the time that it is most important for you to remember what you've been through your process of awakening to who you are, what you are actually able to do, what you've been doing here the entire time that you've been here. And we're here for a flash. It is just a blink of an eye when you think of eternity. And what we do here with the growth and expansion and what we're wanting to bring out and around to other people is, for them to understand and understand the divine beauty that is within them. When we are in a collective type of consciousness where which is the video that he decided to use as a hit piece, I was talking about just two, and that's just the beginning of talking about some of the constructs and why they exist today. It is a twisting in the thinking. My mind was once twisted in thinking too. It took a long time, and I'm still going through the process. We all fall. That's a fact. Losing my child was a big fall. Heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, big tumble, okay? But where do I go from there? There's a difference in where I'm going from there to where I would have, let's say, 20 years ago, where I would have been seeking an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, vengeance, and things like that against my brothers and sisters. Where now it's like, okay, we are our own worst judges. We judge ourselves. And I'm going to, when you look in the mirror, let's say, take a female. From a female's point of view, when I look in the mirror, all I see are flaws. I see everything that's wrong with me. Okay? Somebody else will walk up and say something to me that is contrary to what I think I'm seeing in the mirror. So that is what I'm trying to get at with, we are our own worst judges. We judge ourselves so critically. And a lot of times we are the ones that will hold on to things that are that we think we've done or wronged to somebody else that they have long forgiven and forgot about. So, take that for what it's worth too in your growth process. But in this specific time, with so many layers and so much going on, try to do your very, very best to hold what you've been through, what you've learned, what you know, what you've expanded into, and allow that to radiate around you, because love is contagious. And if you're walking in that unconditional love, you flash a smile to somebody, it's contagious. They could be having a horrible day, and you smile at them and just show a little gentle or tenderness to them, then you could make somebody's day and not even know it. And then it could change the outcome or projection that they were heading in for their entire day, and then affect somebody else, and so on and so on. So in this time with so many layers, we got protests, we got virus, we've got shutting down, we've got economic issues, we've got so many worries and concerns, and then people talk about unjust laws and all these things going on simultaneously, that it's just so many stacked up layers. It's like, okay, let's say we're making a diamond, all right? And right now you're a lump of coal, and that pressure is just squeezing down, and it is making that beautiful diamond just come out from within every single one of us. So when you look at this, multiple layers of all these things going on, remember what you've been through. Remember your journey. Remember your awakening. And try to do what you can to help your neighbors out. Get to know your neighbors. Get to know your community. Form a good, solid, foundational bond with your brothers and sisters who are in your surrounding area. So that way, things will not touch you or affect them in the ways that something just popped up again. I'm so sick of these pop-ups. So things will not project out in a negative way, but through pure and unconditional love for one another. Let me see what you guys got going on in chat. Some Hebrew words don't translate well. Yeah, that's why we need to look up the meaning, right? And I'm going to tell you guys, the one Mandela effect, the ME effect, for me was my Bible. My physical Bible changed in my hands. It blew my mind when Caesar's image on the denarius changed to Caesar's images on the penny. I was like, what? And I mean, like, my inner being just buzzed. It's just like, it just rattled me. And I know that a lot of those changes have rattled many, many people. So mine is a King James version, and it has changed so much. I can't even count how many changes have transpired, within just that version of the Holy Bible, that it's amazing. And to use, dark sentences over our brothers and sisters is actually spell casting. When you are not speaking highly or in love over your brothers and sisters, or you're sending out a frequency of negativity or judgment or condemnation. You're actually working from a lower vibrational field, and that's where we would get the terminology speaking in dark sentences. I don't want to speak dark sentences over anybody. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not proclaiming to be your teacher. I share my experiences, and I want people to feel safe sharing theirs here. I didn't say I was an apostle. I didn't say that I was a teacher. Maybe I am a form of a teacher in the regards of sharing what I've been through and the understanding that I have with it, but I still wouldn't call myself anything but an equal to each and every one of you. And I knew by putting out that message, it was going to ruffle some feathers. Some people need to cleave to that paradigm in order to have peace in their heart. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. You have the right to believe however that you want. It's your experience here. But today's message was for the awakened. It was for those who are here to do a job, and the jobs that we are here to do to help one another, to grow, to bloom, is to remember all those steps that you've went through, all that confusion and twisting that had to come up out of you, how it was painful a lot of times to let go of some of these things that we cleave to as the truth was pouring in, and those things had to leave. It's like, and by remembering that, we're more equipped and able to help others in a time of need, in this time where that diamond is being pressured by every single different direction that you could possibly think of, from your family, from finances, to the virus, to the protests, to all of these different program narratives simultaneously playing out at record speed, toppling over each other. Some people are really getting impacted by over sensory. Your senses are just overblown. So then when that happens, you're scared. You're no longer critically thinking, and you're listening to an outside source, and then you're allowing and going forward with turning over your abilities into what they're telling you. Therefore, in agreement, you're co-creating that situation to manifest. And that is what one of the biggest things that I think that we find out through this process, that Christ, from where I'm located, in the country that I'm in, that when Christ says that, it's one body, is one head, one mind, and we have the mind of Christ, the finished work, I believe that. So since I believe that, I see that, and that we are all one in Christ. I don't see anything separated from Christ. The only separation from Christ that anybody would have is a twisting in their thinking, confusion, double-minded. Let me read some of the chat. Love is truth. Yes, Kevin T. I guess let me give you guys a shout out real quick since I'm over here. I can do a participants list. Yes. Okay, we've got David Luquette, Go-Kart Bob, Kevin T, Olivia Luke, and Prelim. I think I've seen others in there, but that's who it shows is participating in the chat at now. Let me scroll up. Okay, Preliminary, Go-Kart Bob, Olivia Luke, let's see, Joe Fusco. It's been a while since I've seen you. Tim O, Heat Bro from Eternia. Let's see, I'm still scrolling up, but I want to stay on point. with where where we need to be focusing and trying our best to stay in remembering what we've been through to get where we are at. Also be patient, because we know what we had to go through. Realize that other people are also going to be going through a similar process. It may go, a lot quicker for them, but the patience that we show for one another goes a long way. When we see, people going through a process of, first awakening, maybe they start out with conspiracies or looking into UFOs or, different things like that, to start to tear away the veils as the things drop from our eyes, as the blinders fall off, and you can see more clearly what is going on around you and who you are and what you are able to do here. It takes a little bit of time. So we need to show that patience for one another. And by remembering what we've been through, it will help us to show the patience with others that may be just now walking into this awareness about themselves, and show the kindness and the support, lifting each other up, not in condemnation, but in patience and in love for the truth. The truth resides within every single person. It's whether or not we recognize it. Are we still double-minded? Do we think that the devil made me do it? I cannot in good conscience not tell the truth. And my truth may change over time. I am not perfect. I'm going to be the first to tell you that. But the one thing that I do know is that I cannot blame somebody else or something outside of myself for something that I did. Responsibility is one of the first lessons that I had to learn. Responsibility for anything that I partook in, anything that I experienced, that there was nobody else to blame for the things that I did except for me. And so as people are going through this process, we thought we may have been losing our mind. So we need to be the calm in the midst of this whirlwind. We need to be the ones that they look to, so that they can see that there is something better for them. It is worth the journey. Now, even we'll go back to the Bible. Even Christ says that it's a narrow path and few find it. Well, it's narrow, and I've said this several times, because you are the only one on it. I cannot do the work for you. You cannot do the work for me. Just as I shared with the one that somebody else put subliminal memes and messages up with my audio, I love you for who you are right now. You are the one that has the say-so on whether you make strides and steps or changes within you. I don't have that say-so. Nobody has that say-so over me, and nobody has that say-so except for you. And with that, there's a deep understanding. We have an inner craving within our heart to get closer to our Creator, who is all love. And with that craving, that desire, we then seek after higher things. We seek after those things that are of love. And the closer that we get, the clearer things become. And it is a beautiful understanding, and the first thing you want to do is go beat on everyone's doors and tell them how wonderful they are and what you have learned. But what we have actually discovered is Does that method work? No. They have to want it. In the Bible, it says, no one comes to Jesus unless Father calls them, right? So each will be called in their time. When their time is right, in their season, they will come. Now, again, I am not a preacher. I'm just using the good book for some of the things that I am saying to you. I believe in the finished work. I am in America. That is what we were brought up with here. So, with me believing in the Bible and believing in Jesus, he brought me through to the pure truth. I'm not denying Christ. Oh my goodness, far from it. You've never heard me deny Christ. Go back and look at any of my videos. What I do want you guys to understand and understand is that you were not put here. God, the creator of all, did not put us here ill-equipped. All the tools that we need are within us. We've been through the process. Most people who come to my platform and to my channel know this for themselves, have been stepping into this walk for a very long time. And with that, I just, figure I'm speaking to people that are in it. They're in the thick of it. They know or have are well on their way of knowing this very in formation, which is all lined up within them. And guys, it's not a one size fits all. I'm going to change my background. It's not a one size fits all. It is one of those things that, regardless of where you're at in your walk, you're met. You're met where you're at. Yeah, that's what I want to put up. Okay, so you're met where you're at. So, and you're brought along from there. So there's really nothing besides just calling out and asking for that indwelling, for that to come within you, or for the truth to start to reside and rise up in you. No matter what country, what culture, what color your skin is, none of that stuff matters. None of it. None of it. We are all brothers and sisters and equals. The pyramid, one at the top and all the serfs at the bottom, is a lie. It's a lie. And the only reason that it even exists is through, like the example I showed you, using my audio and then putting up memes of, saying that Satan comes as the angel of light and blah, blah, blah. That would make, that's a form of mind control. We see it on the boob tube, they propagate out information, and then we believe that what they tell us on the news is true, and by believing that, then we start to actually manifest that. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. So if we remember where we started, it will help us with the patience for people who are having multiple narratives stacked up on top of them, not allowing ourselves to fall for any of them or feed into any of them or to perpetuate or propagate any of these that cause any harm to any other sovereign, unique being. That is the truth. So we need to, in this time especially, hold our positions. Remember what you've been through to get to where you're at. Let no one, no man, steal your crown. Your crown is your highest thoughts. When you have completely opened up and you're reconnected, you've got your heart just expanding. You're using your voice and your frequency, and that sends out, which then creates matter and material. You're using your mind to critically think because you're no longer under any type of fear paradigm. You can think straight. You are balanced. And then your higher thoughts is your crown, which is what flows up, out, and around you. When I was talking in that video that he used, I was talking about the micro and the macro. The macro is collective, the micro is you. In the micro, you affect with your field what is going on in your direct life. But at the collective level, in the macro, obviously there's still twisting and thinking as people are going through this and being pressurized as the diamonds that we each are, that we are going to come out and build something so beautiful that is equal to everybody, everybody being an equal, sovereign, unique being, a child of the Most High, and therefore having their rights to be. Nobody that I have met yet that has been on this path has a heart that wants to hurt or put asunder anybody else or trample over anybody's rights to be. Actually, it's quite the opposite. We love you for who you are at this very moment unconditionally. Because a twisting in your mind from things that old gnosis and things like that have brought forward, we've all been there. And since we're remembering where we've come from, it gives us more patience and the ability to love each other as equals no matter where or what is going on. So, you guys have any questions? Now, I want to reiterate, although I shared that many of you may actually recognize the person, I do not want anybody to do anything in any kind of a retribution or anything. What I would like for everybody to do is just show unconditional love for that person. It's okay. That's what I have for them. But as I've said before, when you are making decisions for yourself, you have the right to walk away from things that no longer serve you. So if there's people around you that are stuck in some paradigms that could be hampering or uncomfortable for you to be around, you have the right as a sovereign, unique being to walk away. You don't have to stay. You don't have to try to argue your point or try to win a debate or battle with somebody else. That's not what this is about. Not at all. The last thing I would ever want to do is feel any kind of a vindication over another by tearing down something that they have devoted their heart to. It's not in me to do that. So I'm asking that anybody that, recognize that individual to please just see it for what it is, the symbolism that I was trying to show you, the dark sentences, as an example of things that that we have been pulled up out of, and still see that person as the divine sovereign child of the Most High that they are also. So, got me a hula hoop. Nice, Olivia. Yes. As Jesus asked Pilate, what is truth? Jesus also said, either he's a raving lunatic or he is who he says he is, right? Guys, are you a raving lunatic? Or are you who you say you are? Think about it. Think about it. Because a lot of times we question our very sanity and, we wonder, what are we seeing? What are we going through? Why am I having dreams and then walking through them? What's going on? I mean, a lot of this stuff is so off the charts. But then, in, I'd have to say almost all religions, they believe in miracles. So why is it hard to fathom that miracles happen today? We see them on a daily basis. We see them in our skies. We see them in the changes going on around us. We see them within each other. We see people healing. We see people looking younger. We see people just um, I, I, I can't even begin to list off all of the beauty that I see within so many people that are propagating and putting out information or talking about their experiences, their journeys, their transformation, their walk. And I'd have to say it sounds almost magical, or we could use the word miracle. They're pretty close. Jesus walked on water, right? So, something to think about. Good morning, Doc Michaels. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can see your point there. Well, we get called things that we're not, and it's just from twisting and thinking. So, just see it for what it is. Do not allow yourself to be programmed, misled. See how it was simply put. The the images that were put up were so the symbolism and the brainwashing that was attached to it was so blatantly obvious. I was shocked by what I was seeing. I was just mind blowing. But once your eyes are open and you can see these kind of things, your discernment is kicked up into high gear, and you'll see through that very, very quickly, and it will not be able to penetrate, steal your crown, your heart, your mind, your sovereignty, your uniqueness, your beauty, any of that stuff. All things that you were born with that we are remembering are true. Seek the truth within you. If you're in America and you believe in Christ, you are a follower of Christ, seek Christ. He will bring to you all truth. This I promise you. But I don't want to promote any religion or anything of that nature that causes any kind of division between any peoples of any country, culture, or background or belief structure. Because all in all, we are brothers and sisters. We are all in this together, and to show love and compassion, feed one another, take care of each other, watch out for one another is the things that we need to be doing for each other. Lifting each other up. When we start to see that we're falling or falling back into a narrative, lift each other up and out. That just lifting somebody up, not telling them that they're wrong. You don't say, why are you falling for that? No, 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 no. You just lift them back up. Remind them how wonderful and amazing that they are. And they, inside themselves, will be able to see it's not anything that any of us can do for anybody else. And I just wanted to bring this message forward, especially since there are so many layers being tossed at us simultaneously. Like I said, like a piece of coal being pressured, like, being made into that diamond simultaneously, that it may look like a lot of people are just losing it. But remember where you came from, what you've learned, and what you have grown into today. Remember who you are, how you got here, and be patient with those, and show love, compassion, kindness, patience, all those beautiful fruits of the Spirit that are within each and every one of us. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off. I think we've been going a little over an hour. I didn't mean to keep you guys this long. And look forward to My Skies 5D. We're working on his time for him to talk about his journey. So look forward to that coming soon. And also, I will be continuing on, although it ruffled feathers, with unveiling some of the constructs that are man-made constructs, so we can see them for what they are, and work our way through them together. And if you guys have anything you want to add or you want to come on and share, let me know. My platform is open for anybody who's coming from a space of love and equality, and also appreciating their sovereignty, their uniqueness, their beauty, and all of everything that you are, and realizing that so is everybody else. So yes, with that, I want to say thank you for joining me this morning. Always remember when you started your journey how tough it was to get all that untwisting done, and where you are today, how far you've come, and be patient and kind with other people that are just now coming into that, so that way, we can be there for them as we've already experienced it. Always share what you know and listen so we can all grow. Peace. I'll talk to you guys soon.